background, as you've just heard, is in the field of environmental studies. And when you talk about environmental protection, the words like diversity, democracy, gender have a very deep meaning in the field of environmental studies. And during one such research and several such field visits actually to the states of Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, etc., we work to collect data with respect to what's happening in the state. We work to collect ethnographic data with respect to biodiversity, plants, animals being used, etc. And very often we can't help but notice that the best information with respect to environment is available with the women. So it's also kind of a gender perspective that we can kind of learn to understand. And then when we work in the Northeast and we work with women there to kind of collect this information, so this thought did strike that should I actually send this message to them and kind of invite them to in the Harvard Center like so late in the evening. And that, I believe, this very thought that actually comes to us is the very problem, is the very origin of the problem. Because we know that Delhi is not a safe city. And to understand, this from a perspective of an academician, it gets even more troublesome because that means that you can't just simply send women students to field work on their own. And that becomes kind of a very big question on your own self, that then what are you actually doing with respect to teaching? There are certain very basic problems in the city of Delhi that first need to be addressed before we can talk about the big things, smart city and whatnot. So that is kind of our interest with respect to, my interest with respect to this racial discrimination happening in the city. It is very much prevalent. We've done surveys, we've collected information, we've collected some samples from people, students and otherwise who suffered this kind of at their levels. And what we've seen is that a very basic survey that we organized last year, which is also part of this book as a chapter, is that over 80% of all people from the Northeast who live in Delhi have suffered some sort of racial discrimination. So this goes without saying that it's actually very prevalent. It may be subtle, it may be in the form that is not reported. Because the second question we kind of put in a survey was that how many of you have actually reported this to the police? We found that although 80% have actually suffered this in some form or the other, only about 3% had actually reported this to the police or to the authorities. And that is in itself is a kind of the root of the problem, because this is something that's happening in the city but is not being reported at the level that it should be. So because it's not being reported, so it's not kind of a red flag area for the administration to act upon this.
There is an International Peace Day a week back, or perhaps just 6 days back, there was an International Day of Democracy on 15th September. Do these international days have a meaning in our life? Do we actually know the meaning? Many of us, I'm sure, perhaps they know. And why I'm asking this is that in one interview for a job of assistant professor on human rights, in a university I don't want to name because I don't want to create an unnecessary controversy. It incidentally happened on 15th September, some 2-3 years ago. And I was making a presentation, because there now you have to make a presentation for 7-8 minutes. And I was making a presentation because that happened to be 15th September. And I was making a presentation on International Day for Democracy. And one of the person who was an expert, he almost laughed and commented, even while I'm making the presentation, that उन्होंने बोल दिया और आपने भी मान लिया. I felt very bad. I said, sir, it did not come from you and just like that. For 10 years there was a debate. Inter-Parliamentary Union had a debate, initiated a debate, and it continued for 10 years. And then the General Assembly of UN declared that 15th September every year will be celebrated as International Day for Democracy. So what is wrong?
Well, when we talk about racial diversities, gender violence, I think I wonder where racism ends and gender violence begins, because a lot of time, if I was to say that I'm from Northeast and I as a woman of Northeast have faced discrimination, then I don't know whether that will be telling just half or the other side of the coin. Where the other side of the coin is where men from my part of the country are treated more worse because they are beaten up. And whereas I get only cat calls or maybe some lewd comments because I'm from Northeast and I have a Northeastern features with Northeastern names, and because of which generally I'm thought or expected to be a loose woman. And a lot of time this categorization of Northeast woman है तो सब कुछ चलता है उसके साथ जो भी बोलो हो जाएगा, a lot of time this reality or the ugly reality is also relegated to one particular state, that is they are all Mizo women. I don't know why a Mizo woman is always seen to be the bad woman, I call it as a bad woman because it is because even in a Northeast gathering, these are Mizo girls. So they are like that.